What is up everybody? Today we'll be making this amazing looking animated gradient, and no, we do not need any SVGs, we do not need to install any packages, we do not even need to write any JavaScript. All we need is 3 divs and some CSS. That's it. Today's video is inspired by this lovely website. I saw the animated gradient over here and got inspired to make this video. So let's go to the code. So come to your HTML and start by writing these 3 divs. First one is blob outer container. Inside that, a blob inner container, and then inside that we need a blob. That is it for the HTML. Let's move to the CSS. So come inside your CSS and then come down and write blob outer container. Inside that, give it a position of fixed, give it a height of 100%, give it a width of 100%, give it a z index of 0. This is so that it stays behind all your other content. Then you give it an inset of 0 and margin of auto. These two properties I gave because I want the gradient to be in the center of the screen. So right now we'll keep it here, even though I need to make changes to it later on, but right now this is fine. Let's move to blob inner container, and now we need to give this a border radius of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This much pixels. Why? I'll tell you later on when we go back to the screen. Give it a position of absolute, give it an inset of 0, give it a margin of auto, again to make it centered, give it a width of 100 view width, then give it a height of 100 view height, then give it a minimum width of 1000 pixels. This is just so we match with our inspiration. Give it a overflow of hidden, and then right now we'll give it a background color of white so that you can see on the screen what is going on. So let's go back to the screen. So right now this is what we have created, the blob outer and inner container. This white one is the inner container. Actually I don't want it this big, so let me just scale it down a little bit. So come back to your CSS, write transform scale 0.6. I think should be fine. Let's go back and see. Yep, this one looks better and more aligned with what our inspiration had, the size. And now we'll be adding the fun part, that is the gradient. So come back to your CSS and start styling the actual blob div. Give it a position of absolute, give it a width of 100 view width, a height of 100 view height, give it an inset of 0. Most of these properties are just a repeat of each other, but we do require them. And next we need a background of conic gradient. This is what is going to give us that gradient basically. So from 0 degrees. Now here you need to paste the hex code or just the colors that you want to use in the gradient. If you have a color scheme, good, just paste them over here. If you don't, let me show you where you can find awesome color schemes. So come to your browser and open this website called colorhunt.co, and this is where pretty much everyone, every web developer, every designer finds their color scheme. So come here, find your favorite color scheme. There are plenty of options, and accordingly copy all the hex code somewhere and then come back to the CSS. Alright, now that you have found your color scheme, hopefully paste all the hex codes here. I'll paste mine. There you go, these are my color codes. And next let's go back and see how the gradient looks. And right now it looks something like this. Now you might be thinking, okay, this is not what I was expecting, but wait, there is more. Go back to your blob outer container in the CSS, and now you give it a filter blur of about 100 pixels. Now the main thing, the glowy part, is done, and let me show you. See, it is doing the glowing thing. Now all we need to do is animate it so that it does the moving around thing. I forgot what it's called. Rotating, sorry. So that it starts rotating. So let's go back to the CSS. So let's start writing the animation now in our CSS using the keyframes directed. Call it spin blob or call it whatever you want. It's honestly your choice. At 0%, I want the transform to be rotate of 0 degrees and scale of 2. Why? I'll tell you later on. Then give it a 100%, give it a transform again of rotate 1 turn, again scale of 2. Come to your blob div, write animation, write the name of the animation, that was spin blob, give it 8 seconds, give it linear and infinite because I want it to go on perpetually. Now the effect should be effectively complete, and there you go, the animation is done. You have an amazing animated glowing gradient effect, and in fact you can play around with this more. You can give it different shapes, you can change the opacity. Let me try that. So come back to your blob outer container, give it an opacity of, let's say, 0.5. so here you can see by dimming the opacity it looks a lot more subtle now. But if you want to make your website even more fancy and add this fancy little cursor that you can see on your screen right now, then you need to go and watch the video on your screen right now. It is a very fun video, so you will enjoy it. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.